Hey, do you have to deal with the CSRD? In this episode, I'm going to talk to Jesper Jerlang, who's a sustainability manager at Aasted, a company that is super focused on sustainability. They overachieved their science-based targets for 2030 already in 2023, and now they're approaching the CSRD. So if this sounds interesting to you, definitely check out this episode. Hello, Jesper. And first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. For those of the listeners that don't know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Yeah, my name is Jesper Jerlang. I am a sustainability manager in Aasted, which is a Danish located manufacturer of equipment for the chocolate and confectionery industry. So we are making machinery to be used for tempering and handling the chocolate.
Okay, super interesting. And before you started this role, your current role, have you dealt with other sustainability topics in the past?
Yeah, I am originally educated as an environmental planner. So I worked in my career as a consultant within environment in a lot of different areas. And then I have also for some years then with standardization and compliance issues. And then the sustainability in the broader sense, both the is and E part of it.
Okay, nice. So you already have previous experience with sustainability reporting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. That's also good for the upcoming questions. But before I dive into the questions that I actually want to ask you, maybe a little bit more about Aasted. And so you already mentioned that you are working on machinery, then for products like chocolate. But can you just give us a little bit more of an introduction? Like, what is the company about? What are you dealing with? And what is the scope of the things that you do?
Yeah, as it we are making machinery for the manufacturers of chocolate or muesli bars or biscuits or different confectionery purposes. First of all, our core product is the tempering machine, where you do the crystallization of the chocolate. So that's where you really determine the quality of it, apart from, of course, the cocoa mass that you put into it. So we are doing everything from the tempering level until that the chocolates are ready for packaging. So we are not involved in the initial part of the process. We are not involved in the packaging, but we are involved in all in between. That is everything from single machinery like a tempering machine or an enrobing machine on and up to full lines. Products are always made by order. So it's really a dialogue between us and the customer. What is it that they need based on our different possibilities, and then we design a tailor-made product for the customer and manufacture it. And we are selling globally with a headquarters in Denmark, and also the manufacture takes place in Denmark. But then, of course, we also do the commissioning with the customer everywhere in the world.
Okay, very nice. I would be curious to know, how big is the sustainability team, and can one even call it a sustainability team? Because I'm sure that many different roles have to be involved in this. So I would be interested, like, who all in the company is working on sustainability in general?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and a little difficult to answer. But we are a family-owned business, and the ownership as well as the top management, they are actually very dedicated to the sustainability agenda, and we have quite high ambitions. We have decided that we don't want a big sustainability department, and we don't want a separate sustainability strategy. So we are really working on integrating the sustainability agenda in the business. So that means if you look into our business strategy, you will see that sustainability have quite a big role. Our purpose as that is really signaling that it's about sustainability. And we are working with what we call the 3 Ps, people, planet, and profit, as a triple bottom line, as the instrument to work with it. So we have a small department for sustainability with 2 people, myself and a colleague. And then we are really engaging the rest of the organization in supporting or implementing the sustainability issues in, for instance, our facility management or our supply chain management or our product development and so on. So when I introduce new colleagues to sustainability in Aasted, I say that we are the smallest department and also the biggest department, because in reality, everybody are in sustainability in the company.
Very cool. I'm always super happy to hear when sustainability is really integrated in the company and it's not something outsourced where they just try to get compliance somehow, but where it's actually within the company. You just mentioned that you have quite ambitious sustainability goals, or that it's quite important for the management. Do you
Yeah.
have specific goals or KPIs that you could name as an example to see like how you're trying to progress towards sustainability?
Yeah. We have conducted a double materiality analysis also as requested in the CSRD, and have identified a number of different topics, and we have tried to set measurable targets for all the material topics that we have identified. And as one example, we have identified our CO2 emissions as one of the important topics, and we have already actually back in 2020 signed up for science-based targets for scope 1 and 2 a reduction target, a net zero target. And the interesting thing is that when you have a net zero target, you get a midterm target, a 2030 target calculated from SBTi. And our target based on 2019 was 46% reduction. And we actually overachieved that already here in 23. So we have set a new target now that we want to reach 90% reduction in 2030. So we are also increasing the ambitions as we go when we can see that we can reach the targets faster than first expected. But we have also target for diversity, energy consumption, our sorting of waste and so on. So quite many different targets and KPIs.
Yeah, very glad to hear that you're already ahead of your targets and that you're setting new ones. For me, I feel like in the news, I always see that companies are delaying their targets or having to push them off. But it's very nice that you're already overachieving. You just mentioned the Science-Based Targets Initiative.
Yeah.
Have you or with the company done any sustainability reports in that sort in the past? Or is the CSRD the first sustainability report?
No, we've actually done sustainability reporting since 2019. So we have quite some experience with that, and have really tried to report on the entire ESG agenda and report on both our policy levels, our actions, and our results and data. So we have tried to really be as transparent as possible for quite some time. And of course, with CSRD, the requirements to what you need to report on is increased. So we are trying to step up on that. And we have taken some first step here in our 23 report, which is closer to CSD requirement than the previous, but we will need to take some more steps to be fully compliant.
Yeah, I would like to have a little bit more of an insight there. Like I've heard a lot of times that the CSRD reporting is now much higher in detail, and there are a lot more data that needs to be collected. For you as a company, when you're approaching the topic right now, how do you try to like get the first CSRD report done? How is the approach? What were the steps? You already mentioned that you did a double materiality analysis, so I see that this is like the first step. But I would be curious to know, do you do that by yourself? Do you look for different solutions? What part are you doing by yourself, or you trying to outsource? Like, how do you approach that?
I would say we have decided that to do as much as possible in-house. But of course, we look for inspiration outside. So we are trying to use our different networks to get inspiration. And actually, as a part of our organization, we have also 1.5 years ago established what we call a sustainability advisory board, where we have 3 outside experts, which we meet with every quarter to discuss the sustainability agenda, and they are both challenging us and helping us in different ways. So they have also supported us with inspiration for how to handle, for instance, the materiality assessment. So we look for inspiration and different kind of tools, but we have done it in-house.
Okay. And you just mentioned last that you're also looking for some tools. When you're looking for tools to support you, are there certain criteria that those tools must or maybe should comply with or help you with? Or are there certain criteria where you're like, oh, this would be actually quite helpful for us, or this is something that you're looking for?
Yeah, I would say when I look into if we could benefit from tools to this process, it would be to ensure that that we have, so to say, a full overview of the process, that we have a full systematic review of what's required when we have been through the materiality assessments, when we have identified which are the material topics. I will ensure that we also have all the reporting required in place, and have also in the same way also documented the process and have documented the decisions we have made for topics that we have deemed not relevant.
Yeah, I think that this will definitely be relevant to say like what topics are not relevant gets to the auditing.
Yeah.
But for the data collection process and the process of creating the first CSRD report, is there any? I'm trying to think about how to ask the question better. Are there any certain points that you see or that you think would be helpful to you? Or is there, if you look for a CSRD solution, and let's say you can adapt your double materiality, the findings that you have with the solution, so that you know the data structure of the ESRS and what topics to report on. Are there beyond that any characteristics that you're looking for, or where you think that would be helpful to your company? Or is that basically a second thought and you're focusing on the first step now, and this is nothing that you touched on so far?
Yeah, I would say for the data part, we I think we have established a system where we know where to get the data from. So that is more or less in place, and of course it may be improved and in future, but we have actually the basic setup for that.
Okay, interesting. So, from your current perspective, what would you consider to be the biggest challenge for your company when it comes to the whole CSRD process?
I think that there are some of the also required financial calculations that you need to make, which are not necessarily very easy to perform. And and as you go, we will need to refine some of the data we have on especially the material use. So 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 some of the data also the getting more and more information from suppliers will be one of the coming issues. But we'll need to take that in step by step and start with those suppliers that have the biggest impact on our figures, and also where we can see that it's possible to actually get some data.
Okay. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I can imagine that getting all the different parts for the machines and getting all of this together then involves like a long supply chain, and
Yeah,
to make sure to like control that, get the right data, talk to the suppliers. I think there's a lot of communication that will be involved in there. And from what I've heard so far is also that a lot of suppliers don't really have the data available yet. It's not like they just open the drawer and then can give the relevant data.
exactly.
So
And
yeah,
we,
I can imagine.
and in the same time, we need to build our own data structure in a way so that we can actually also take in the data from the suppliers. So we also need to establish that as we go.
Yeah. When you make decisions on the CSRD topic in general, whether it be to like find a solution or be about the data structure that you have, who are the people involved in your company for those decisions? Like, because I can imagine that when you try to get the data from suppliers, then you could like start to involve a lot of people into the process, but then making a decision with a lot of people might be too complicated. So who is involved in your most common decisions around the CSRD?
I would say that besides from, of course, myself, the sustainability department, it would be our financial department, because they are also the ones responsible for delivering a lot of the data. And then if to the extent that we will include import of supplier data, we would of course involve our supply chain management people in that part.
Okay.
But I would say that the main players would be us and finance.
Okay. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I have the feeling that you, with your previous knowledge in sustainability reporting and all the different reports that you already did, and that you already have a double materiality assessment, that you're quite ahead of the curve. I talked to a lot of companies that basically stand in front of the CSRD topic, and it looks like a jungle that is still growing, and there are new reports coming in and new regulations. Um, so if you were to talk to such a company that hasn't started yet, that stands in front of this jungle and is completely overwhelmed, what are maybe some of the most important learnings or recommendations that you would give to such a company to like approach the topic and how to progress, and maybe not like go as far as your company that you're already overachieving all the different goals, but that you're going to a direction where CSRD compliance is likely outcome?
Yeah, I would really say the first step is the materiality assessment. So really start looking at that and maybe doing it a bit rough in the first instance to get some ideas of what seems to be the most important topics and which could be on the edge, and then give those on the edge a little more effort to look into. And then also really be aware that you, in that assessment, need to also have some topics that you deselect. And so that you end up with focusing on those that are most important. Really use that as your tool to prioritize what you're doing. And then when you have identified, then identify the most significant, and then those that are, so to say, in the second rank. And for the most important, then start looking into what can we do about that? What could be targets in these areas? I think if you as a company have to do the double materiality assessment in order to comply to CSRD, then make sure that you actually make use of it and use it as a prioritization tool. That helps you. That would be very important.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
take it in steps. Don't expect things to be perfect from the start, but make some first attempts and then build on that and refine it as you go.
Yeah, I think that's good advice, because a lot of companies are stuck in some sort of paralysis and they need to do so much and they don't know where to start, and therefore they don't start at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also think that like going forward, making the first step and trying to go into the right direction is already then the most difficult, but then actually gets you quite far. For your company in specific, what is the next step on the roadmap? Like, what topic are you approaching next?
We are looking into a lot of different things where we want to improve. We have in 23 made our first full climate account. So besides from the scope 1 and 2, we have also made a full scope 3 account, and we want to refine that. It's not perfect, but it's at least a full picture. So we will work on refining that, and also to establish targets and the transition plan for the scope 3 part. And then we are working on to see how can we cope with the product level, and start working with some level of life cycle assessments for our products, so that we both can operate on a product and organization level.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds super exciting. Those were all the questions that I had so far. So as long as I didn't forget anything, or you would want to mention anything else, then I would already say thank you very much for taking the time, and I really hope to talk to you soon.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.